Hi, Wycliffe Barrett here, Xplane dedicated today in a nice kind of format. I'm going to present to you a series of videos regarding Xplane developers, those people who provide for us some incredible scenery or aircraft or airports. And the first one on the list is Mr. X, or commonly known as Mr. X6, or even short Final. Now, if you haven't heard of this guy, then you must have been living under a rock, especially if you're an Xplane user. He provides some of the most incredible airports that exist on Xplane, and a lot of them are freeware. In fact, I think the vast majority of them are freeware. His real name is Justin, and Justin, when you see a picture of him, you think he's only about 13, but at the moment he's actually studying for a software engineering degree, and I think he's coming up to his finals as we speak. He's been developing scenery for Xplane only for a short while. I think it's something like 3 or 4 years at present, and the genius behind this guy is the fact that his scenery is so lifelike and often so populated that you would be forgiven for thinking that it was payware. I asked him what his most favourite airports were, and so one of them was Munich. The work that he was most proud of, there was Munich, there was his SFD Global, and one other which escapes me at the moment. Oh, San Francisco is San Francisco scenery. And when you look at any of these, they're amazing. San Francisco in particular, when you have a good close look at it, you'll even see the famous seals down on Pier 39, and there are animated streetcars. Now, I've got that scenery, but I've never noticed those things, so I'm going to go back and have a look at it at some point or another. I asked him a couple of things about how did he get into developing for Xplane, where did it all start? And he was telling me he was first introduced to flight simulation by his older brother, who used to fly FS-95 at that time. So that's quite a way back. And from then on, all he did was he played with the different flight simulators, including all the way up to FSX. But then he had a break, and then came back to flight simming when Xplane 10 first came out, and realised very quickly there were not enough airports in Xplane 10, and decided to create some for himself. And originally, that is exactly what he was doing. He was creating not for anybody else in particular, but just for himself. And here you can see Munich. Now, I set the scene up like this for one particular reason, and I'll show you. Right in the middle of the screen there, you can see a light pole. In fact, if you look closely, you can see maybe 1 or 2 behind that. But if I just go here, there are all the light poles. And this is a testament to the guy's ingenuity and absolute passion for his sceneries, that something like light poles are perfectly in line, that you can hide behind one and you wouldn't be able to see the rest. I mean, this is Munich, and by far it is the best Munich airport scenery I have ever seen. And this is freeware. It's available through xplane.org. It's absolutely stunning. And I should imagine, I mean, I think that Munich is a couple of years old now. I'm not quite sure. I wouldn't like to say exactly how old it is, but it is, a couple of years old at the very least. But look at the detail. The level of detail is absolutely stunning, and I think Mr. X is one of those guys who's going to be around for a lot longer now, because he is so young. He is a young person, and his skills are only going to get better and increase more and more in the future. You can see some traffic moving out here because I'm using Traffic Global from Just Flight. So how does he select his airports and his projects? Is it out of his own necessity, or does he listen to the community? And he said it was a bit of both. More often than not, he chooses airports that he would like to see, but also he does get requests from the community, and so depending on how busy he is, then he may choose something that he would do for just for the love of it, or a community request. He finds when he begins working on an airport, he spends simply ages trawling the internet, trying to get photographs, trying to get reference material. If he can get to the airport, he will, and have a look around and see exactly what it is he's going to do. I mean, this airport, I remember when I did a review on this one of the things that I was most impressed about, and I hope I can get there, is this central kind of concourse here, where you've got this roof which is like sails. I mean, that is absolutely the work that is involved in this here, and we'll zoom in a moment. Just let me get down to it a bit. I mean, look at it underneath. He's even got the textured tile flooring. Let me get in here. So the work and the complexity that is required to do this is absolutely breathtaking. Whereas a lot of people use SketchUp, Justin uses Blender, and he's right. Blender does get criticised for its clunkiness and the user interface, and I tried using Blender years ago when I first started developing scenery. I quickly realised that I would need to upskill considerably to be able to use Blender or even SketchUp at the time, and it's one of the reasons why I stopped developing scenery. Also, I was using the Lego brick system as well, and I just couldn't see my way to learning so much to do custom buildings. But thankfully, Justin has. And as I say, Blender is counterintuitive. I have used it. It is counterintuitive. Rather than left-clicking on a mouse, you might right-click on the mouse, and everything seems to be working backwards and counterintuitive. But thankfully, Mr. X6 has done a superb job and provides us with these wonderful airports, these wonderful sceneries, even down to the tree placement. I mean, everything is superb. And when you get an airport from Mr. X or Justin, then you know you're going to get something that is really, really quite special. And just looking around here at Munich, all the stands, which is not that busy really for Munich at the moment. I'm using Traffic Global. Normally there's a lot more traffic around than this, but it's a bit quiet today, as you can see. There's Emirates, A380. There won't be many of them left soon. They're all going by the wayside. But it's just perfect. It is really a superb airport. Ground clutter, everything. And is he ever satisfied with the work that he's done? And he says not, that he could carry on working and working. It's like art. Any artist will tell you that their work is not complete, and that they can keep going and touching up and touching up. And I think Justin is a little bit like that too. That he always finds something not quite right with his scenery, and he wishes he'd done something that he hadn't, and things like that. And I can understand that as well. I remember when I was doing my custom sceneries, I would always think, I'll just put this extra thing here. I'll just do this one little bit, and of course you carry on and on and on. In all of my sceneries, I used to hide the TARDIS from Doctor Who. I'm not sure whether Justin hides anything in his scenery, but I used to do so also. What drives him to do all this? What pushes him forward, so to speak, to continue to do this? And he said he thought his main motivation is that he wants to constantly improve himself. With every new scenery that he does, he learns new things. He wants to surpass what he's done in the past. So I am grateful to Mr. X or Justin, and I think we all should be grateful to him. And if you download one of his sceneries, leave a note, say thank you. And I'm not sure whether he accepts donations, but if he does, send him a few dollars, because this is a lot of work. And don't forget, he's doing a software engineering degree at the same time. So, he is quite busy, and I'm sure that, if you could pass him a couple of dollars, he'd really appreciate that. So that is my first video in this series to one of the scenery developers that provides us with some incredible work. And Mr. X6, you can find him on xplane.org. All his sceneries are there, and if you haven't got one, just download one. Like I say, this is Munich. I haven't got any orthophoto scenery for the surrounding area. You don't need it. It just looks wonderful. This is an absolutely dream of an airport. And just quickly before we go, let's see if I can move it to night time so we can have a look at some of the night lighting. I know we can do that, but I'm going to have to do it this way because I've got it all locked off at the moment. But let's just go to the evening, around about there, apply the changes, and oh, that's a bit too dark. Well, let's go to dusk so we can see what it looks like just as the lights are coming on. A little bit lighter, I think. What's that like? There we go. There we go. So you can see it at dusk, and it does look absolutely superb. All the tricks are being used here. All the tricks, baked occlusion, PBR, HDR, the lot. Look at the light spill here from the lights. Absolutely spot on. Brilliant. Well, there you go. As I say, the first in my series of videos presenting scenery developers, Mr. X6 or Mr. X. Justin, thank you very much. It's a pleasure flying in and out of your airports. Hope you found the video useful, everybody. We'll see you soon. Take care. Cheerio.